Hey everyone, it's Sleepy Reader. It's Sleepy Vlog time. I've been wanting to do one for a while. As always, I'm always saying, oh, I've been meaning to do more videos than I've done. But anyway, here I am. Let me start out by telling you about a few new to me channels I've been watching. I want to shout them out. One who's been putting out a lot of stuff, I think in a pretty short period of time, which some of us do when we first start channels, is Rez, R-E-S. And I'll put a link below to all of these channels. And she's doing lots of hauls and reviews about, for the most part, more the non-superhero, more esoteric things. She really likes heavy metal. She seems to like erotic comics. But also a lot of kind of European stuff and maybe things with just a more that European album kind of feel. But I highly recommend her. I really enjoy all her videos. So yeah, welcome Rez to the comic book community. And then another person who I really enjoy his videos, I think he's kind of slowed down, is Walt's comic book channel. Another person from Germany joining us. I think we have Earl Grey. I feel like there used to be someone else from Germany who was doing videos in English that I used to watch. But anyway, Walt's channel is excellent. His analysis of his reading and everything is really cool. And I think he reads the more mainstream stuff and the less mainstream stuff. He just recently highlighted what's his name? The author of Yummy Fur and Paying for It, Chester Brown. But he's also talked about Rebirth, and so he's very eclectic, and I really enjoy his thoughts. Then we got Semper Fi Guy, who I think has been around for a bit of a while, but I only discovered him fairly recently, I guess through Comic Book Noob. And Semper Fi Guy does a lot of quizzes and trivia games, and he gives away a ton of prizes. And he just seems like a really nice guy. So I really enjoy his videos. And he puts out a lot too, so I need to keep up with his videos. That's always tricky. And then here's one that's kind of new and kind of old. It's called Luc or Luck. I don't know if it's Luke or Luck. Luc&Dad Break Free. And many of us have already subscribed to the Luc&Dad show or Luc&Dad channel. I forget what it's called. Which is, they're great guys, and their new focus is this project to circumnavigate Ireland, I believe, by walking around the coast, and as a awareness raiser for mental health issues, which they are in the thick of, or they deal with that in within their own family, so they. Kind of exciting, and so this channel's all about this project to do this over the next year. So yeah, check out that channel, subscribe to it. I don't know if they'll be doing some kind of Kickstarter or fundraiser or anything like that, or just sharing their adventure. But I think the main purpose of it is to share their adventure. So I will be turning 55 in a few days, or sometime by the end of the week. And a lot of times I'm not too bothered by age and birthdays, but I always thought of 55 as the dividing line between middle age and old age. Now I'm going to have to revise my opinion on that, but certainly AARP thinks I'm old age and is sending me lots of letters. So I'm kind of bummed by that. Not in any big kind of way, but I sort of was thinking of that because I've been in the past week or so getting presents from other people. Not that they knew it was my birthday or anything, it's just sort of chance. And one of the cool things about YouTube friends is we give each other comic book presents. And I have to apologize to someone out there who I kind of deflected from giving me presents just because I was worried he was going to spend too much on me. But we should probably give each other presents that are just inexpensive little surprises or something interesting like that. Maybe I'm a person who's not that comfortable receiving presents, perhaps. So that's more of a tangent than I meant to get on. But one thing about being on YouTube is there's other guys in my age range. I feel like I'm older than a bunch of guys who are close to my age, like a few years older than them. But it's often weird hearing people younger than me talk about how old they are because I don't like to think of myself as old. I like to be a Peter Pan and never grow up. But anyway, so on to some of the little gifts I got. One was very thoughtful, not an expensive gift, but a cool gift, which was Sarge TD was paying attention to my videos. I mentioned a comic book or a character that I really like and how it's hard to find her comics. And he said, hey, I found this in the 50-cent bin. Can I send it to you? And so he did. And so Sarge TD sent me a issue of Little Dot Polka. Or Little Dot, I think it's normally called. But I guess at some point they actually put her last name there, Dot Polka. Little Dot. This is number 157. And I believe it's from the early 70s. Let me look. And believe it or not, for a Little Dot comic, this one is actually in pretty good shape. 1975. There's some stuff going on in the cover and everything, but these comics were read by little kids, and it's amazing if they don't get all ruffled up. And it's a typical fun comic. My favorite thing is Little Dot and the Dotniks. There are little tiny dot aliens who come visit her and have powers over gravity, basically. And I love how at the end, I'm going to spoil it, at the end they return to their planet, the planet Dotnikia. Earthlings are 1,000 years behind us. They consider the simplest scientific acts as magic. But we did meet the nicest little girl there, Your Majesty. She loves dots. So I, of course, read these with my daughter, but I have a great fondness for them. And I continue to search them out, and I am finding some more sources for them. But that was really awesome of Sarge to send me, and I was tickled pink when it arrived last week. Okay, and then someone who told me he's a longtime viewer. I think he said longtime viewer, but has not commented more than once or twice, I don't think, and doesn't make his own videos. By the name of Frogtown has sent me a present. He too was paying attention to my videos, and I had bought all of this new Warren magazine, tribute magazine called The Creeps, except issue 1, and he offered to send me issue 1. And I kind of, so Frogtown sent it. It was incredibly well packaged, wrapped, 2 boards around it, well taped up, big boards so that nothing would come out, and then newspaper all around to hold it firm inside of a good-sized box. And it's in Mylar. So I'm really grateful for this, Frogtown. I won't say your real name online in case you don't want it said, but this was really nice of him. Really, really nice of him. And but there wasn't all he sent. He also sent me, I've taken it out of its bag, and I need to find a new bag for it. But, where'd the backing board for it? He sent me Eerie comics, but not the Warren Eerie comics. This is a, as it says on the back of the board, a flashback replica of Eerie Comics number 1 from 1947. So before, I don't know if this is before EC Comics. I think it's before EC Comics, and certainly way before Warren Magazine titled a comic of theirs Eerie. It's on really nice paper, and I'm really going to enjoy reading this. As much as I'm going to enjoy reading The Creeps, I think this is even more exciting because it's almost like venturing into the unknown for me, something I've never read before, or of a sort that I've never read before. But the art, to me, given that it's the 40s and everything, it seems like at a pretty high level, actually. I've seen a lot worse art from the 40s. Maybe not at the level of EC Comics, but definitely really good stuff. And I had no idea about... I guess I vaguely saw something once where I said, wait a minute, it wasn't that a Warren comic, but it was actually a comic book. I'm going to look for these replica series some more. They've done a whole series of 16 different comics, at least as of the time that this label was printed, including someone named Moon Girl, Black Cat Mystery, Monster Mystery, Blood is the Harvest. That sounds interesting. Chamber of Chills, I assume before the more recent Marvel Chamber of Chills. So, but then in that vein, I had a visitor this weekend who some of you may be familiar with. He goes by the name of LongBox Review. He does a podcast. He does have a YouTube channel, which he only infrequently posts on. He is known to a lot of us originally through Travis Oddfellow Thoughts. They are high school friends, I believe, and Travis appears on his podcast a lot. Anyway, he brought me a copy of Eerie, the Warren magazine Eerie, and I'm really into this. This is an odd cover, and I just looking at it quickly, I would never have guessed, but this is a cover by Richard Corbin. Inside, it's credited to Dick Corbin, but who else but Richard Corbin could be Dick Corbin? I don't know if why he was briefly calling himself Dick Corbin, because I'm pretty sure he was already going by the name Richard Corbin before this would have been published. I don't immediately see a date, but I'm guessing this is like 1970 or thereabouts. Maybe there was a period where he felt he was too cool to be in the mainstream and just wanted to be in underground comics, or maybe he thought he had a contract with someone else, or I don't know why he would call himself Dick Corbin in this instance. So anyway, it's a lot of fun to get these Warren magazines. I'll have to do at some point a side-by-side comparison, maybe of some Warren magazines and some Warrant magazines. Actually, there's something I forgot to show you that Frogtown sent me along with the Creeps. If I can figure out where I put it. I thought I had it right. Oh, here it is. He gave me a poster of the cover, too. Now, I got a poster, I think, of issue 6, and I have a poster of issue 1. So that's really nice, because I think these are limited availability of these posters. So even with Frogtown, I kind of tried to talk him out of it a little bit. I just feel bad about people sending me presents. I told him to make sure that he didn't send me anything he would regret later. So, yeah, LongBox Review came to Portland, kind of, I think, a semi-last-minute whim, because he, at least in part, heard me mention all these comic book shops in Portland, and he had a free weekend, so he came down Friday night, left early Sunday morning. So basically we had Saturday together, and we went to 3 different comic book shops, and we talked comics all day long. I don't know if maybe I was beginning to hit my limit on comics, although we did start talking about Star Trek near the end. So at each of the shops we went to, I bought a little something. He bought some stuff. Maybe a little more than me, but not a whole lot more than me. He showed some self-control. One of the themes of our discussion was that we both had too many comics and we didn't know what to do with them all. Yet, there we were buying more comics. So we went to my favorite store for the 50-cent bins. I like comics. And I won't show you everything I got there, but I got this issue of Star Slayer called Star Slayer Meets Grimjack, which is entirely illustrated by Timothy Truman, which brings it a notch above the other artists who had taken over Star Slayer after Mike Grell. And I still really enjoy this early Timothy Truman art a lot. So I look forward to reading this. I think both Star Slayer and Grimjack are written by John Ostrander. So I was really happy to find that in the 50-cent bin. And I actually, at another store, I paid a little more for the one issue of Brain Banks I don't have. So now I can read this 6-issue miniseries from Helix from the 90s, I assume, by Elaine Lee. Yep, 1997. The short-lived Helix label that was an offshoot of Vertigo. Where is... Here I thought I put everything that I would want to show right in front. Oh, here it is over here. So at the place with the 50-cent bins, they also had a huge section of magazine-sized comics. And they weren't 50 cents, but I got another issue of the Rook number 5 for $3. And then I was really excited. They had a lot of Epic magazine, or almost all for $3. I kind of, because we've been talking so much about how we're buying too many comics, I tried to control myself and just pick 4 that I really liked the covers to. I don't think they have issue numbers on the cover, but this is April 1985, so a bit later in the Epic run. This is August 1981 with an awesome Barry Smith cover. I think this image was used elsewhere first, or maybe afterwards. Maybe in a portfolio of his or something. This one has an awesome Mike Kaluta cover, I believe. I don't see his signature on it. This is from the winter of 1980. This must be very near the beginning of the run. Oh, there was one more. Where did I put it? Did I only buy 3? I could have sworn it. There was another one that I think I opened up and was reading, and I don't know where I put it now. But suffice to say, I find Epic, from what I looked through, because before that all I had was my memories from the early 80s, to be partially like heavy metal, maybe less nudity and such, but then with things tossed in that were actually more typical Marvel and probably Marvel copyright stuff. Other things just had a copyright of the artist on them, like this one. Who's this by? It looks like Jeffrey. No, it's Kent Williams. I was going to say it looked like Jeffrey Jones. So it's kind of a mix of things that have more of a Marvel touch and things that have more of a heavy metal touch. But you don't see many naked people in here. So, but I kind of, I like both, so I'm kind of excited. Kind of not the earliest days of creator-owned for mainstream American comics, but very close to the beginning. Sort of probably taking the Star Reach model and combining it with the heavy metal and adding some Marvel comics in also. And I got a bunch of Spirit magazines, which completes my run of the Spirit magazine up to number 40. Can't decide. I guess I probably will eventually keep going up. And I bought this one that I already own because it's my favorite cover. I believe that it's a drawing by Will Eisner, but I believe it's colored by Richard Corbin. I should double check that. But I always liked this. There's lots of great covers, but this was always one of my favorites. Partially because of those colors. You didn't see colors like that back in 1974 or whatever, whenever it was, 76. I understand that Richard Corbin invented or somehow came up with a printing process to print his style of colors in Warren magazines. Yep, cover color by Rich Corbin, not Richard Corbin. He liked to change his name a lot. There's also a color spirit section that they had in a bunch of these, which are not colored by Rich Corbin, but still very rich colors for the day. Let's see. Yeah, this is 1974. Anyway, an interesting thing in the they had a huge number of spirits, like it filled 2 magazine boxes of spirits. But as I dug further and further in, like there were a lot for $3, but I had most of them, and some for $5. But as I went further and further back in the boxes, the prices went up. And I almost imagine earlier they thought the spirits would sell, and they put higher prices on them, but no one was buying, so then they started putting lower prices on them. I don't know. But I couldn't find any above issue 40, and it felt nice that I completed it up to issue 40. But there were just a few scattered ones above issue 40, but they were like for 10 or 12 or more dollars, and there didn't seem to be any difference in the quality of them. So, so I took him there, which I like comics. Then I took him to Cosmic Monkey, which is a really cool shop, where I bought the latest Nexus newspaper size comic, and I am asking myself, like, if he keeps doing this for years, am I going to buy every issue for $10? I might at some point cut it off, because it's also very hard to store. I joked with Eric that I should go find those old giant library shelves that they used to put newspapers on in libraries, but I don't know where you'd get those. So anyway, and then we went, sort of at the end of the day, we went to the shop near my house, which was having a 50% off sale. And I just got a few things there. I've taken them out of their bags, but I'll look for better bags soon. I added to my Defenders collection. I think I can't remember what number I've picked, but I don't want to collect the entire Defenders run, but the early ones plus up to a certain number, maybe 70 or something like that. I think these are mostly Sal Buscema era. Yeah, Sal Buscema and Klaus Janson. I remember I really liked the combo of the Klaus Janson inks with the Sal Buscema pencils, because Janson added a kind of inky intensity to things, and Buscema is so good at the action and the pacing and storytelling of classic superhero stories, so I always liked that combination, which I don't know if they ever worked together anywhere else besides on the Defenders. Now this one is Buscema and Jim Mooney, who's a very good artist in his own right. Less exciting to me, though, than the Buscema. And this one's by Sam Granger. I'm not really familiar with Sam Granger. I thought maybe that was the pen name of someone else. But anyway, I'm happy just to add a few cheap copies of the Defenders to my growing Defenders collection. And then I kind of cracked a barrier for myself. I bought an issue of Foom. Friends of Old Marvel, the old fanzine from Marvel. And these tend to be expensive, and it seems silly to spend a lot of money on them, but I do have a lot of nostalgia for it because I had a Foom subscription as a kid. I'm surprised this doesn't have a crease, because I think they came folded up, but maybe not. There's a slight hint of a crease on the back. So this was listed at $14, and at half off it was $7. Probably more than I should spend on this, except when I look online I always see quite high prices for Foom. And this isn't the ultimate issue of Foom that I would like to buy, I'm very interested in Conan, but I really, for some reason, am more interested in the early issues of Foom. And I think I started getting Foom right at the beginning. And this issue is pretty much one long interview with Roy Thomas about Conan. But there's also some stuff about Red Sonja, and was there? I think somewhere in here is an interview with Archie Goodwin. I'm particularly interested in that. And I'd forgotten Archie Goodwin used to do these cartoons himself in this odd style that sometimes showed up like on the back page of some Marvel Baxter Paper Comics, the direct market comics. Occasionally would have like a one-page Archie Goodwin strip in them. Yeah, so that kind of broke my cherry on buying Foom. I don't know if I'll find more at a price that I'm willing to pay. So while I'm pretty much doing a haul, well, the one other thing I want to say about, well, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to meet comic book people in person, but it's also funny because I hear myself repeating points about comics that I've already made in videos. Because I say everything I think about comics in videos, and I felt, well, if he's watched all my videos, but he probably hasn't because I put out so many, he's probably heard everything I've said in person already on a video. So it's like I don't know. I in real life am an imitation of myself in the video. Although I'm sure I look a lot different when I'm seen from all angles and in person, because I certainly found that he looked different in person than, even though if you take the part of him that appears in his videos, that's exactly what he looks like, but somehow the effect is different with the whole body and the body posture and everything. I'm kind of a visual person, and so it's just interesting to me when suddenly my perspective on the visuals is changed. But then the other thing is he brought something to record us on, and we recorded one of his podcasts, so this will be the second time that I've been on the LongBox review podcast, and when that comes out, I'll put links here or links in some other video when it comes out. We basically talked about Rebirth, and that was a lot of fun. And I can't wait to hear our conversation back. So yeah, I will include a link down below to everyone I've talked about, including LongBox reviews, podcast, and video. So yeah, I got other stuff that I haven't shown you. Lots of other stuff that I haven't shown you, actually, but I thought I'd show you a few hardbacks that I got. A while ago, I got Master of Kung Fu. I got it, the really bad alternate cover. Or I guess this is the main cover, and the good cover that was a reproduction of an early issue. I think of this issue here was the variant cover. But I don't know what they were thinking with this cover. But the reason why I did it is I got this book. It was briefly on sale, with an even greater discount. So I think I got it for like 38% or something crazy like that, or $38. What's its list price? I can't really remember. But anyway, being cheap, I got the cover that I did not like. But I'm super psyched to read a long run of Master of Kung Fu with some nice oversized pages, Paul Galassi art, Jim Starlin art, Doug Mensch or whatever his name was writing. I always remember him as one of my most favorite writers back in the 70s and 80s. And a week or two ago at my shop, I decided I really love my new shop. So, my family's home. I think I'll continue this later. Thanks.